I'm Madhusudan. I'm IAS officer 2015 batch. I am from Karnataka and I'm posted in Uttar Pradesh cadre. So when it comes to the interview, there are certain aspects which I have broken down into. The first aspect is mainly the DAF portion, because the moment you enter the interview hall, the first thing which they are going to see is your DAF. So starting with that, the key points which I have thought is, when it comes to the DAF, we have the detailed descriptions of the candidate completely, wholesomely. I mean, it's starting right from the name to the given to goes to an extent of the qualification and the working of the parents also. So starting with that, we could start with, we should have a complete idea, or we should know the meaning of a name completely. That's a very important aspect, and I can see most of them are. I think two of them are from Rajasthan and one is from Karnataka. There, so you should know the meaning of the name. If it has any historical significance or cultural significance, it has some roots to any of your villages, because mostly the South Indian names which we have, they have their roots to the villages and all, and sometimes it's also related to our the sect, or it's related to some caste system and all. So we should be very clear about, we should know completely about the name. I know it all sounds very naive when I'm telling you all this, but just for a point which could be taken down when it comes to the interview, we should not be missing out on anything of that sort. And second thing is the place of birth. It also plays a good role. For example, two of them are from, I think, from Jaipur, and one is from the Bangalore. So you should have a complete information about the place where we come from, the place we have taken birth. So it entirely, I mean, it should have a complete overview of it, the place. For example, historically or culturally, or any other significance which that place holds. So we should have an idea about it. And the next, going on, the it comes to the father's occupation. I'm going entirely step by step for the DAF, because most of the things what we think is, when we go with the DAF, we usually ignore certain key points, and we focus mainly on the hobbies, and our optional thing and all. So but this also plays a very important role. Over a period of this session, I'll also explain how it has played a role and all. When it comes to father's occupation, it also holds a good role, because whether your father belongs to a government sector, does he work in a government sector, or was he a part of a government sector, or or if he belongs to works in the any private sector. So we should have an idea how these sectors are contributing to the nation's economy and all. It's not that they would go into depth of it. It also depends on how we turn our interview into. So if father works in any of the government sector, we should know how the organization is originated, what are the importance of it, is it contributing to the nation's economy. It could not be contributing directly, but indirectly there will be an impact of any organization which plays a role. And moving on to the next step, it should be, when it comes to private sector, we should also know why was that organization established, and what was the reason behind it, and how is it, are there any interactions with the of this private sector with any of the government institutions. Mostly is nowadays we are able to see that private sector is playing a big role in respect to any work which is being outsourced by the government machinery. So we should know an importance of that also. Going on, it comes to the basics of the candidate. It's like the school or the colleges where we come from. For example, most of them, two of the students here are from IIT, so you should know the national importance of it. When was it called? When were the institutions called institution of national importance? So there was an act which was enacted, so we should know why was it done, was it required. And similarly, the one of the candidates from the Christ College, so we should know what is the significance of it, when was it established. So that is one key point which usually is been questioned in the institutions, because the straightforward question is, you study from such a big institutions and then you take up a good job, so why do you want to really give up that and come for the IS job? So this is one of the questions which has been asked regularly. Going on, when it comes to this is the initial basic part of the DAF, wherein we have an idea about our the place, the name, the institutions, the father's occupation. And going on, when we go in detail of the DAF, what we go to the next section is the personality of a candidate. So I know most of them would have faced an interview. They would have a different opinion. It's not necessary that everybody has to agree with whatever I'm saying, but these are some of the points which I have faced, and some of the points which when we sat together with a couple of friends which whom we cleared and all. So these are the couple of things which we discussed among us, so that which usually come forward. For example, when it comes to the personality and all, the moment you enter, you should take a permission to when you enter, you should greet them properly. And if the panel is always sitting in a concave manner, so you should look at each of the individual and greet them. And you should have an eye contact with each of the individual, and before you sit down on the chair, you should take a permission to sit. You should be sitting upright, you should not be folding your legs. And when the interview goes on, and when the interview starts, so the basic thing is, there would be initially they could throw you all the questions which you might not be knowing, or initially they would ask you very simple question which you'll be knowing and you're very confident about it. But the principle is, you should be listening to them properly, and you should always let them finish the question. So only after that you should take a step forward for answering that question. And it might so happen that there are I mean, they might the panelists might ask the question in a fast manner, in a hurry manner. But if you're not able to understand it, if you're not able to grasp what exactly the question was, or what are they expecting out of you, you could request them politely to repeat the question, and then accordingly you can take your time to answer the questions. So there should not be any assumptions that this is what they might be expecting. So you should be knowing what they're expecting. I mean, you should understand the question properly. Only then you should go on for answering the questions. I'll explain all of this. I'm just putting forward the points. Then I'll explain how these all the factors played a role in my interview. So probably that could be an experience for you guys to take on when you go for an interview. And the next thing is, there might be instances wherein you might not be knowing an answer at all, or you might be knowing answer partially. But the key role here is, be very polite in either taking a time, asking for their permission to take out time for 10 seconds or something, or 20 seconds, however you feel. And then you can think over and ponder over it, and then you can give the answers. Or there might be instance where you don't have an idea about that question at all. I mean, you are like totally blank on that question. So you could this is not a point where you need to panic. And they are not expecting a candidate to know everything out of the blue, and they're not expecting you should know you should know and give a perfect answer. So what they're looking at a candidate is, how exactly are you handling the tough situations. For example, they throw you some question which is totally out of the blue and you don't know how to handle it. You can straight away politely say, I'm sorry, I don't have an idea about it. So they will really appreciate it, rather than we trying to answer it, beating around the bush and putting forward points which is not going to make any sense. That will actually give a negative impression. These are certain parameters which also play a big role when you're into the service.